Somebody's calling my name.
Hush, hush, somebody's calling my name. Hush, hush, somebody's calling my name. Oh my Lord, what shall I do? What shall I do? Hush, hush, somebody's calling my name. Hush, hush, somebody's calling my name. Hush, hush, somebody's calling my name. Oh my Lord, what shall I do? What shall I do?
Sounds like Matthew Henson.
Somebody's calling my name. Sounds like Matthew Henson. Somebody's calling my name. Sounds like Matthew Henson. Somebody's calling my name. Oh my Lord, what shall I do? What shall I do?
Well, it sounds like Marcus Garvey.
Somebody's calling my name. Sounds like Marcus Garvey. Somebody's calling my name. Sounds like Marcus Garvey. Somebody's calling my name. Oh my Lord, what shall I do? What shall I do?
Sounds like Malcolm.
Somebody's calling my name.
You know it
Sounds like Malcolm. Somebody's calling my name. Sounds like Malcolm. Somebody's calling my name. Oh my Lord, what shall I do? What shall I do? Sounds like Kwame Nkrumah. Somebody's calling my name. Sounds like Kwame Nkrumah. Somebody's calling my name. Sounds like Kwame Nkrumah. Somebody's calling my name. Oh my Lord, what shall I do? What shall I do? Somebody's calling my name. Somebody's calling my name.
Brother Jeruba.
Somebody's calling my name.
David Stewart.
Somebody's calling my name.
John Lacey.
Somebody's calling my name.
Brother Amin.
Somebody's calling my name.
James Crosby.
Somebody's calling my name.
Brother Abrafo.
Somebody's calling my name. Oh my Lord, what shall I do? What shall I do? I'm in Ra, we know what to do, we know what to do.
Beautiful, Brother Jeff. That was wonderful. And thank you for all the singers as well, because it's just beautiful to our ears, the vibrations. Yes. Thank you. Asante Sana. So, greetings, everyone. Welcome. Akwa Aba. So we're here to open up the way this morning. And my name is Minister Alicia. If for anyone who doesn't know me, because I guess there's new people on today. And so now, just to welcome everyone, we just want to say welcome to everyone on Zoom today. For those of you oldie but goodies like me, and for those who may be new. And so we just want to welcome everybody with a warm virtual hug and high five and whatever we can do to welcome you here. And we just want to let everyone for a remembrance of some and some new to others of what we believe and what we practice, Wosei Community Church is a community of the way. The way is M.I.T, truth, justice, and righteousness. We believe the teachings of our elders and our ancestors, that the Creator God created the universe and all life, and has placed in each of us a part of the divine spirit. God living in us and through us has given us the right and the power to establish peace and justice in all human life, and true harmony with all of creation. We believe in the living faith of our ancestors. Our way is not merely ritual or belief. Our way is a way of life. Our way is not a random path. Our way begins with coherent understanding. It is a way that aims at preserving knowledge of who we are. It is with this conviction that we study the rich heritage of our African people. The way is reciprocity. The way is wholeness. The way is unity and self-determination. It is creativity, collective work and responsibility. Our way is faith, purpose, and cooperative economics. The way knows no oppression. Our way creates. Our way worships and praises the God of our ancestors. The way is life, and the way destroys only destruction. Ashe. So first, Ashe. And now we will have our affirmation by Mama Michelle and Baba Damani. And then after that, we will have queued up a song by Sister Chinita.
Good morning, Wosei. Now's the time that we affirm to God and to all who listen that we are Wosei, that we believe in M.I.T. And we say this affirmation in prayer and in continuance. We will know God's truth to be free and self-determined. Creator, help us to remember. Oh, go ahead.
Creator, help us to remember the humanity, glory, and suffering of our ancestors and to honor the struggles of our elders.
Let us strive to bring new vision and life to our people. Let there be peace and harmony among us.
Let us be loving, sharing, and creative. Let us work, study, and listen so we may learn, teach, and cultivate self-reliance.
Grant us power, O Holy One, as we struggle to resurrect our hearts and our homeland.
We will raise our children according to the needs of our nation, with discipline, patience, devotion, and courage. We will strive to be the living models of the new direction of our people.
We are an African people.
We are children of God.
Ashe. Sister Chinita, you're ready for your song.
We're not hearing that, Bill. Bill, we can't hear that.
Once more.
Just didn't want the words to get the best of me. Cringing from thoughts that the song could go wrong. While staring through the eyes of possibility. Possibility. There's a song in my heart, but I haven't learned how what hesitations unknown. Just didn't want the worst to get the best of me. Cringing from thoughts that this all could go wrong, while staring in the eyes of possibility. There's a song in my heart, but I haven't learned how to sing it. It permeates my whole being as it waves within the wings. Song in my heart, I wanna learn how to sing it. Permeates my whole being as it waves within the wings. Hard to say what I really want out of fear it's unattainable. Find myself doubting that if I reach out, such love will be available.
Ashe. So beautiful. Sister Janita, were you trying to say something?
Oh, no. but,
Okay.
but thank you, Brother Bill.
Okay. And that was so beautiful. So thank you so much to Sister Shanita for singing and who apparently can never take a bad picture. So we want to thank you for that. And also to Mama Michelle and Baba Bill who stepped in. And now we're going to move on to the historical tribute. This is a wonderful time. It's one of the reasons why, you know, what drew me to WOSE to begin with. So we're going to have a historical tribute right now by Brother Desmond, and then after that you will be hearing a song from Mama Akanke. So Brother Desmond.
Good morning, WOSE. Desmond getting ready to do a historical tribute, and faster than I thought. I'm on my cell phone. I was going to go ahead and switch to my computer, but I'll just go ahead and read instead of doing the PowerPoint. So this is a different historical tribute. And last time we did Frederick Douglass, we kind of did what to a slave, what to the 4th of July is a slave, right? What to the slave is the 4th of July. So now this is going to look at something different. And if you guys haven't read the narrative of the life of Frederick Douglass, this is where this part's going to come from, this historical tribute. And it's basically to the first part of his life, because there's so much that he has done and so much that he contributed to. So sit back and listen and try to follow along, and I'll try to be brief. There's a lot of notes here, and so I'll try to be, let me ready to time myself. All right, so Frederick Douglass. Frederick Douglass was not first called Frederick Douglass, named Frederick Douglass. His first name started as Frederick Augustus Washington Bailey. He was born in Talbot County, Maryland. There's no accurate knowledge of his age. Back then, there was no authentic records of some of the slaves and their births. And he does not even remember meeting a slave who knew of their birthday. Sometimes the white children could tell their ages, and this was a sort of unhappiness denied to a lot of the children in this former slaves or those enslaved back in those days. And this kind of made Frederick Douglass unhappy. When he wrote his first autobiography, he was believed to be about 27 to 20 years of age, because he had heard his master say he was 17 around 1835. He knew of his mother a little bit. His mother's name was Harriet Bailey, daughter of Isaac and Betsy Bailey, both Black and quite dark. His father was his father was a white man. He heard this because he heard this whispered from his master, I'm going to change that word master, from his enslaver, his father. He was separated from his mother when he was an infant, before he knew her as his mother. It was custom to be part for children to be removed and taken away from their mothers at a very early age, usually before their 12th month. Then the mother is sent on to the plantation far off, and then the child was placed under an older woman at the plantation, too old for field labor. And this was usually done to destroy the affection for the mother has towards the child and the child towards the mother. He saw his mother about 4 to 5 times in his life. Each time was very short in duration and at night. His mother, Harriet, who lived about 12 miles away, she made a journey on foot to go see her children, which was 12 miles is about a half marathon. She left while he was asleep to be out in the fields by sunrise. Otherwise, you could risk death or being punished or whipped. His mother, Harriet, died when he was about 7 years old. Frederick was not allowed to be present during her illness, at her death or burial. She passed before he knew anything about it. He received the tidings of her death with much the same emotions he should have felt at the death of the stranger. Back then, the slave children of a slave owner suffered great hardships, especially if, like I said, Frederick Douglass' father was a slave owner. And because sometimes the father might favor the children, the mulatto children, over other slaves, or his own other children from the slave wife, the wife would get jealous. And out of deference for the wife, sometimes he was compelled to sell his children to another plantation. This was cruel. Cruel for a man to sell his own children to human flesh mongers, and often he must stand by and see one white son tie up his brother. Moving on, Frederick Douglass had 2 masters. His first enslaver was Captain Anthony. He didn't remember his first name, but Captain Anthony was known for selling crafts on the Chesapeake Bay. He was not considered a rich slave owner, but owning 2 or 3 farms with about 30 slaves. Under the care of Mr. Plummer, a miserable drunk overseer who used profane swearing and was called a savage monster, he took great pleasure in whooping slaves. Frederick Douglass's first time he saw an enslaved person whipped was his Aunt Hester for looking and visiting a young man belonging to another plantation. She came home late, and she got captured by the enslaver, and her clothes were ripped off in the kitchen while she was tied to a joist and whipped until warm red blood came pouring down her back. This was the first time Douglass had seen someone whipped, and it was his aunt. He spent 2 years of childhood on that plantation with Captain Anthony in Talbot County. On the plantation, he was not old enough to work in the field. He had great leisure time. The most he had to do was drive up cows at the evening, keep fowls out of the garden, keep the front yard clean, and run errands from his master's daughter. Most of his leisure time he spent finding birds shot down by his enslaver, who became attached to Frederick and his protector. He would not let other older boys imposed upon him, and would not and he would choose to divide his cake and his food with him for Frederick. Frederick was once again was seldom whipped, but he suffered more from hunger, but much more from the cold winters in Maryland. He was kept almost naked with no shoes, no stockings, no jacket, no trousers, nothing but a coarse linen shirt. On the coldest nights, he stole a bag that carries corn for the mills, and would crawl inside the bag, sleeping on the cold, damp floor with his head in and his feet out. His feet were so cracked and chapped that from the frost you could put a pin in his gashes. His meals were boiled cornmeal called mush, put in a large wooden tray. They were not given spoons. They used their hands, shingles from roofs, and oyster shells to eat. When he was 7 to 8 years old, he left that plantation and went to the great house farm, where blacksmiths, shoemaking, grain grinding, and other mechanical operations were performed. Frederick felt ecstasy when he was allowed to go to Baltimore to live with another enslaver named Mr. Hugh, his master's brother. He spent 3 days happily washing himself in the creek and washing the plantations. And he spent 3 days happily washing himself in the creek and trying to get that plantation scurf off before he went to Baltimore, because it was more city-like, they're more clean, and he was leaving the plantation. At this time, he was finally given some trousers. He didn't feel like he was leaving anything behind. His mom had already passed, his grandmother lived far away, his 2 sisters and 1 brother lived in the same house. But early separation from his mother, early separated from his family, his brothers and sisters, and their mother, they didn't feel like family. So he looked for home elsewhere. He left without regret, excited with the highest hopes and future happiness about the beauty and strength of Baltimore. Frederick's departure from Colonel Lloyd's plantation was one of the most interesting events of his life. Going to live in Baltimore laid the foundation and opened the gateway to all his subsequent prosperity. There were a number of slave children, younger, older, and those of the same age. He was chosen among all of them and was the first and the last and only choice to go. He'll say you could call him superstitious or even egotistical regarding this event. He called divine providence. He dates the entertainment of deep conviction that slavery would not always be able to hold him within its foul embrace. And in the darkest hours of his career in slavery, this living word of faith and spirit of hope departed not from him. He remained like ministering angels to cheer him through the gloom. This was a good spirit, a spirit from God, he felt. In Baltimore, under Frederick's new mistress, when he first met her at the door, she was a woman of kindest heart and the finest feelings. She had never had a slave under her control. She was dependent upon her own industry for living. She was by trade a weaver, sheltered from the blighting and dehumanizing effects of slavery. Frederick was astonished at her goodness, not to know how to behave towards her, looking her in the eye, not crouching towards servility. That didn't bother her. He felt this kind heart in a short time remained such, but the fatal poison of irresponsible power was already in her hands. The cheerful eye of under the influence of soon became red rage, that voice that made all sweet accords change to one harsh and horrid discord. And that angelic face gave place to that of a demon. Then she assisted in, later on, he started to learn his ABCs. She assisted in learning and teaching him to spell words, 3 or 4 letter words. And then she found out, and then her husband, found out and forbade from teaching Frederick Douglass how to read and how to write, saying it is unlawful, unsafe to teach a slave to read. And he stating that nigger should know nothing but obey his master to as he is told to do. Learning will spoil the best slave in the world. If you teach a slave how to read, there will be no keeping him. It will forever be unfit for him to be a slave. It would make him discontent and unhappy. These words sank deep into Frederick's heart. As a youth, he aspired and he was troubled and perplexed by the white man's power to enslave the Black man. It was a grand achievement. From that moment on, he understood the pathway from slavery to freedom. So he decided to learn how to read. Losing the instruction of his teacher, he was fixed on the purpose to learn to read and write at whatever cost of trouble. He lived with his master for about 7 years. His mistress changed from an angel to a demon-like character. And every time she saw Frederick Douglass with a newspaper, she charged at him and snatched the paper, and soon demonstrated that education and slavery were incompatible with each other. She soon demonstrated that education and slavery were incompatible with each other. As we move on.
Indeed, that's exactly why we emphasize education so much now, and why we need to take control of our own education, because that's our only path to freedom.
Right. So as I finish up, the first step he learned to teach himself to read was he learned the alphabet from his mistress. The second step, he was the most successful. He made friends with little white boys who he met on the street, and he changed and exchanged bread that he got from his house because they weren't rich, but he always had some food to give. So he traded food for knowledge. And he'll say, for this food, please teach me a word. For this food, teach me how to write. I am running out of time, but I'm gonna leave this at being a slave. I'm sorry, I'm running. Still got a few pages. Well, let me finish up here. So he carried bread with him, and which they had a lot in the house he stayed. He was better off than many more white children in his neighborhood. When he traded the bread for knowledge, at the age of 12, being a slave of life bared heavy on his soul. He read the book Columbian Orator, which he found the dialogue between the master and his slave. The conversation resulted in voluntary emancipation on part of the slave and the master conversation. So he focused on reading the Columbian Orator and Sheridan's mighty speeches on emancipation. And from there on, he started to learn the words and started to gain his moral foundation in dialogue on how to dialogue against slavery and for the abolition of slavery.
Thank you very much. Minister Alicia?
Ashe. All right, that was awesome, Brother Desmond. So now we're gonna go on to Mama Akanke, who's gonna come with a song, and the litany of sacrifice will be given by Mama Darnisha and Baba Tai. Mama Akanke?
Good morning. No. Is it afternoon? It's not afternoon yet, so it's still morning. Somewhere. Great rising, as we say. If it's magic, then why can't it be everlasting? Like the sun that always shines, like the poet's endless rhymes, like the galaxies and time. If it's pleasing, then why can't it be never leaving, like the day that never fails. Like on seashores, there are shells, like the time that always tells. It holds the key to every heart throughout the universe. It fills you up without a bite and quenches every thirst. So, if it's special, why can't we make it very careful? As making sure we dress in style, posing pictures with a smile, keeping danger from a child. It holds the key to every heart throughout the universe. It fills you up without a bite and quenches every thirst. So, if it's magic, why can't we make it everlasting? Like the lifetime of the sun, it will leave no heart undone. There's enough for everyone. Ooh, 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 ooh.
Beautiful. Mama Darnisha, Baba Tai.
We shall strive to maintain unity in the family, community, nation, and race.
Kujichagulia, self-determination. We shall define, name, create, and speak for ourselves.
Ujima, collective work and responsibility. We shall build and maintain our communities together. Our brothers and sisters' problems shall be ours to solve together.
Ujima, cooperative economics. Together, we shall build and maintain our own businesses and together profit from them.
Nia, purpose. We shall make our collective vocation the building and the developing of our community and the restoration of our people to our traditional greatness.
Kuumba, creativity. We shall do as much as we can in any way we can to leave our community more beautiful and beneficial than when we inherited it.
Faith. We will believe with all our hearts in our God, our people,
and in the righteousness and the victory of our struggle. Ashe.
Ashe.
Now you see the addresses on the screen. If you want to use snail mail to send the donation in, please feel free to do so. Of course, we use all of our donations to further the work of the Wosei community, both here and in Sacramento. And now, Minister in Training, Baba Sidney will do a prayer.
And as we bow our heads and open our hearts, Creator Most High, thank you for looking down upon this community. We want you to continue to inspire, to engage us, to have us follow in the footsteps of our ancestors, going to the storehouse of things that we have developed over the years, things that we have gained over the years, and share some of that with the community Most High. Creator God, we ask that you continually bless those who have given, bless those who have wanted to give but have not, or not in a position to give at this time, because you know what's in each and every heart. Creator God, we ask that you continue to watch over this community, continue to help us to grow, help us to develop, help us to be the best Africans that we can be. We ask that you do these things in your most sacred name. Amen. Ashe.
Ashe, Ashe. So, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, are we ready? Are we ready? Okay. This is the part of the service where we get to go deeper. All right, let me let you know. If you attending will say, you want another vibration. If you are a worker in WOSE, you want another vibration. If you a minister in training at WOSE, you want that high vibration. And let me tell you, if you a minister and a minister in training, you on that level. And so the brother that I'm fin to introduce to you today that you getting ready to see is on that other level right now. And so open up your ears, open up your spirits, your hearts, your souls, and get ready.
Yeah.
Get ready.
Yeah.
Because you're a minister and a minister in training. What? Who does that? That is Minister Mallie. We're ready, Minister Mallie. We're ready.
Ashe. You know, I thought my brother Sydney could give an introduction, but Mr. Alicia, woo, thank you.
I'm learning.
You know, as usual, our service has really been tied in together. So I want to acknowledge that the ancestors who were so artfully and skillfully invited to share with us this experience was introduced by Minister in Training Rwanda as a family reunion. And I want to thank her for that because it ties into what I'm going to be talking about today, about something that I want to acknowledge first and foremost that my kinfolk and my extended family on Labor Day weekend, we will be having our 69th family reunion. And I want to honor that, and I have acknowledged it because I also invited some family members who I hope are in attendance at Zoom today, because what I want to share and I want to connect to has a lot to do with connections and relationships. And before I do that, I first want to honor and respect our tradition that first and foremost, before I share anything, I want to ask the permission of the elders. Shall I speak?
Hey, brother, go right ahead.
Yes, indeed. Go right ahead.
Thank you so much. All right. So I want to talk to you about the topic that is the title of the message I want to share today, called Getting Back to Get It.
All right.
Back. Getting it back to get it back.
All right.
All right.
Get it back. All right. Now.
You know, one of the things that has been painfully made real and apparent these days is, in spite of the headlines, in spite of the news that we are familiar with, like the pandemic and war that is ending in Afghanistan, and the storm that hit Haiti, and also that the landing of a new hurricane seems annually in my home area of New Orleans, where Hurricane Ida at level 4 is hit. All these things are examples of how, even with other stuff in the headlines, even with things going on, life still shows up
Yes.
on a personal level.
Yes.
That even as we are looking at the headlines, there's still stuff happens in our families. There's still stuff that happens in our personal lives. That while we are talking about the challenges of like the children returning to school, we still got folks who got knuckleheads in their households. We still have people who are challenged in their marriages and their relationships. We still have folks committing crimes. We still have struggles with people that we might be on the way to work with, on board, on the train. We still have common everyday challenges because life ain't on hold just because there's some major things happening in the world. And because of those realities, sometimes we kind of get disconnected. We struggle with things. And so I want to put it out there and acknowledge, especially in this particular month, there are reminders that happen, memorials of people that are lost to us. And there are folks who are going to continue to be lost to us, either because of advanced age, illness, or the tragedies that occur that ain't stopping just because there's a pandemic.
Say that. Say that.
And even though those aren't happy news, I'm here today to talk about some good news. Can I talk about it today?
We need some good news, brother.
Yes. We need to talk about that good news.
Good news.
About getting it back. To get back, to get it back. So we can get it on. First and foremost, in order for us to discuss what to get back, I think we have to acknowledge that there's some things that are missing in action. That there's some stuff that is going on, that has been going on, that we continue to struggle with. And to point out that this is not new news, I want to direct us to Hosea. In Hosea, in my book, it's page 85, the book of Nefertiti, volume 1, second paragraph. Be moved my heart and mourn for the land in which you were born. For there is silence before evil. What should be condemned is feared, and the great are overthrown in the land of your birth. Time not then while this evil exists. Rise up against that which is before you. For lo, the great no longer rule the land, and what was established has now been undone. May Ra begin to reestablish this land, for it is ruined, and nothing of value remains. Not even the black of a nail has escaped this fate. Lo, the land is destroyed, and there are none to care for it. There are none who speak, and none who weep. How then fares this land? Now I know it sounds like a contradiction that I have some good news, but indeed I do have some good news to share. But before we get to the good news, let's talk about what's wrong. Now I'm not going to go through what we all are already aware of, the list of so many struggles, issues, problems, and tribulations. I'm not going to talk about all the trial. I'm not going to talk about the history of what it is that has caused us to be who we are today. What I would like to just simplify it to is something similar to what Dr. Joy DeGeer said about post-slavery trauma disorder. See, we are people that are struggling. Even those who may be blessed with a modicum of sanity, we still got some ailments. Oh, y'all don't feel me? See, we still got some ailments. Even though there are people who wake up with a smile on their face every morning, show up at their jobs, get to do what they need to do, be able to have what they need to have, to be able to accomplish what it is that they will accomplish. They still have challenges. They still have issues. We got ailments. In fact, we might as well say we can be considered out and out sick. And I personally am familiar with PTSD. I struggled with it. I ain't afraid to say that and share that. What's sad is, I ain't the only one. And there's a whole lot of folks running around here pretending like they well, who are sick, who struggle with issues. And part of the challenge of getting to the good news and getting back is to be able to face what is. And to be able to take on those challenges in a way that will change our lives. And that's the good news. That is not only is it possible, but it's also capable and able to be done. That is about how we get certain things back into our lives so that we can get back and get it on. Y'all want to talk about that today? See, we have an issue about being disconnected. And a lot of what inspired me for my message today comes from the presentation, historical tribute that my Baba Sidney is so, he loves that. See, that's his favorite part. And being that we did that last week, Marcus Garvey, the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey, talked about a people without knowledge of their past, knowledge of their origin, and knowledge of their culture are doomed.
Say
that they will suffer like the tree that is disconnected from its roots.
Say that.
See, we are disconnected. Now, we are also fortunate enough to be in the process of reconnecting ourselves to our roots. But most of us are not yet there. And we are obviously people impacted by that condition, by that element of being disconnected. That's why I said, get it back. Because see, there's some things we gotta go back to. There's some things we're gonna need to get back so we can get it on. Because in order for us to be successful at doing things in the now, one, we gotta acknowledge the past without being stuck in the past so we can get it right and become more than where we are now in the present and in the future. Y'all feeling me today? See, for us who are struggling, who have ailments, I know most people say, duh, we need to get well. We need a healing. And that healing, though, has to be done on a 3-tiered level. See, and we got to dispel and also get rid of some stuff. In order to get what we want, we have to practice the paradox of letting go. There's, in order to gain, we got to get rid of. In order to have, there's some stuff we no longer need to hold on to. In order for us to get well, there's some things we have to do differently to get it back. And one of those things is to change our perspective about healing. See, we practice a Euro-centered, Western influence approach to healing. We like to mess with stuff when we get sick. We like to try to treat stuff when we're in crisis. Well, that's Eurocentric. See, African heritage would teach us that one, we have to be healed on all levels in order to be well. Mind, body, and spirit. All of them have to be in well, and all of them have to be in sync in order for us to truly be healthy. Now, we can appear healthy, we can look good, but are we truly well? Because, see, that means you can't just look good. You just can't only feel good. You have to do well, be well, and appear well. Come on now.
Say that. Say that.
The African-centered healing process has to be in sync. It has to work together. Minister Lisa talked about when you express something, it's about the heart and the mind. activating the tongue. See, well, that's what healing's about. The mind, the body, and spirit have to work in harmony. If it don't work together, then you're imbalanced and you're unwell. You're not truly healthy. Now, guess where that comes from? It comes from the spiritual undergirding that we say we are about. The way, as identified, is M.I.T, shaped by the Nguzo Saba. And the principles of M.I.T, the outcomes of M.I.T, are based on that holistic approach. See, when your mind, your body, and your spirit is linked up, your outcomes are balance, harmony, peace, truth, justice, righteousness, right order. Oh, y'all don't want to feel me. See, we understand it's one thing to say something about M.I.T, it's another thing to actually live M.I.T. Speak, do, and think. Mind, body, and spirit. When they're in sync, you ain't got to tell nobody, because it shows up when you show up. And that's why you will know you are well. Because see, all of you are there. You know, there's times when people are sitting in meetings or around each other and say, well, I wasn't all there. Well, then you wasn't healthy. You wasn't in your balanced self. So when you ain't all there, you ain't really that healthy. And I hope you ain't practicing being places where you really ain't healthy. But I am going to say we got some good news. I don't want to mess with you, but understand there's a lot of stuff we say and do that are disconnected. See, because we are not practicing M.I.T as a feature of our lifestyle. It can't just be Sunday. It can't just be something we're very intellectually aware of. It can't just be that we sound good when we say the word. We know how to spell it. I got a t-shirt with it on me. But that don't mean I really live it. Until I am embodying, that means I show it, I demonstrate it as well as I speak to it. And then the outcomes speak for themselves. We want to get that back. See, because we did have it before. That's why commit lasted thousands of years. And if you think we're under duress now, well, we only been in this country about 400. Okay? Yes, we are under duress. Yes, we have hostile agents. Yes, we have challenges, but we also got solutions. Come on. See, that's why I'm saying it's good news. Because it ain't just a list of the sad complaints. It's also that we have demonstrated the ability to get it together. What we're not consistent with is the wholeness of keeping what we get and maintaining what we get and then flourishing with what we get. Come on now. Come on. See, we understand survival. And I'm really tired of people talking about we know how to survive. Because animals know how to survive too. Plants know how to survive. The difference the divine has made with us is that we don't just survive. We flourish. We thrive. We do more and better. And the more we do it, the better we get. See, there's a level of improvement. Oh, come on now. See, we got to understand there was a real purpose, a nia about the existence of life. Come on now, the spiritual undergirding. And I'm going to point it out. No, I ain't scared. But we have to point out that's the difference between religion and spirituality. So religion would have you sitting up saying hallelujah for an hour and a half. You'll feel really good. But see, spirituality says something has to go on in you. Come on now. So that in you, there's a change. And in you, you will be transformed. That you don't stay who you were when you walked in the place. And that when you leave the place, that transformed you goes with you. You don't leave that at the altar. Y'all ain't what? I hope I ain't scared of some folks. But understand, spiritual undergirding is what the way is about. See, because otherwise, it's just theater. Otherwise, it just sounds real good. They even look good. Some people might even dress the part. But understand, can you live it? Because see, living is a challenge. We have to get back to an activity-based worship. It can't just be about the good feel. It also got to be about what are you going to do with what you get that improves the level of life for you individually, your family, and the community. All three levels. You have to have an activity-based spirituality. When you get back, that's an action. It ain't an intellectual thing. It ain't study, although that's important for education. It means you're going to something to gain something. And then you get it and you do something with it. See, you get it on. You take it from something on a piece of paper, something in a book, and it becomes active. Somebody get with me this morning, this afternoon, in other parts of the country. Is that there is a call out when you have a spiritual undergirding. And that doesn't need a title. That doesn't need a position. You ain't got to have no letters after your last name. You ain't got to have any titles in front of your name. All you have to do is hear the call.
That's it.
And then respond as such. And it don't mean everybody does everything, but in an African-centered approach, the body is your image. Just like a tree is the image that Marcus Garvey used. A tree is an excellent example because a tree is a really complex but simple piece of nature. You see, there's a root system that's anchored in the ground, coming from a seed, all right, that then gears itself into how to survive long enough to flourish. And it creates branches, leaves, and fruit. And an individual tree is beautiful. But a forest is so much more.
That's it.
Come on now. Come on now. That is our spiritual imagery. That's what the people who were delivering M.I.T and giving us the principles of Nguzo Saba, that's what they were trying to guide us with. Is that each one of you are a plant or a tree in your imagery. But you work best. You accomplish more. You really expand yourself when you're part of a forest. See, and that's our activity. Is how do I take the seed that I was given and flourish? What fruit am I trying to produce? And so bringing us to this piece about getting it back. Can I offer some examples about getting it back? See, we need to get back to our spiritual undergirding. Principles before personality. See, that way individuals don't supersede the blessing of a group. See, I'm a great person on my own. But it usually means I'm also a bit isolated. I usually am not going to be really that significant on my own. See, we need to get back to that sense of community where every member is as important as every other member. Because then when you get back to that, then you get unity. Y'all gonna hear me in a minute. See, when you get back to the tools of how to build things. See, you start skill building. We need to get back to that. You know, let's stop becoming intellectual giants, but technically challenged. You know, let's not just be so happy because we went to the right school, but that we actually have experience born in hard work. We need to get back to that. See, because then you get productivity. Oh, y'all ain't hearing me. See, because first you get unity. And what are you going to do with that productivity? Well, maybe you might want to do something collectively.
All right now.
And then you might want to do something cooperatively.
All right
Ooh, wait. Somebody heard this before. See, because when you get back those gifts, then you get certain principles that you're going to want to practice.
That's right.
See, when you get back to where we're not just walking and wandering around, but we have what's identified in one book as a purpose-driven activity. You're doing something for a reason other than your own self-centered. See, then you have purpose-led. I'm doing this because it's better for more than just myself. See, then I'm practicing Nia. Okay, I should have told you. And see, then when you get back to things like how to write better, how to talk better, how to do things in a group better, you become creative. See, you on a level where you actually challenge yourself to do it better than you did before. You do it in ways you didn't think before, because it ain't I no more, it's us. You get back to group process, and then you get Kuumba. Oh,
all right.
Because see, we just said Umoja, well, that was unity. And we did say Ujima, that was collective. And we did say Ujala, which is cooperative. What's left? We did say Nia, that's purpose. We did say Kuumba. What's left? Somebody been reading.
Yes.
Somebody been listening. See, because it's all tied together with the spiritual undergirding. Because see, when you get back to your spiritual roots, then the tree is going to grow better, because doesn't the farmer have faith that if I do the things to nourish it, that I do the things to care for it, the tree is going to bear fruit. Come on. That's what we need to get back to. Faith-led process. Faith-led unity. Faith-led activity. That see, we ain't got to necessarily see the outcome ahead of time to invest in the activity that will make it happen.
Say that.
One last piece. So getting back means that it isn't a step back into the past.
All right.
It is an overview of the record, where we have come from, which couldn't have been that bad, because here you sit in your happy seat. And that ain't a tragedy. So the success, the arrival of us has been built upon the work of others. That's why acknowledging the ancestors. See, it ain't a step back. It's a way to get back that which has been done well before we got on the scene. Because, you know, a lot of us like to act like the first time anybody thought of something was when I thought. The first time I heard something is when I heard. So we need to get back to understanding that a people who do not reflect on their origin, where you come from, and our past, our history of who we are, and then our culture, the things we do well as a people, because it had to be awesome. It had to be long lasting. It had to be sustainable in order for us to still be here.
Say that.
See, because we ain't got here except by the words it said, through toil and trials. Come on now. We wasn't handed these seats. We have earned these seats. And we have stood on the shoulders of others who did the same.
Yes. Say that. Say that.
So we got to get back
Yes.
to those pieces that come together in a holistic manner to make the whole. Once we get back, we're gonna get it and get it on. I say, come on.
Oh, Minister Mallie,
You know, like me, if you guys heard something, got something out of the message, let me hear you say, I say. Mallie was thinking about we are a tree, but collectively as a full forest that we provide so much more. I remember reading a story by the writing of Brother Thurman Thomas, Howard Thurman. He was saying that there was a brother was planting a tree, and a guy walked by and he said, "Man, you planted this apple tree." And he's a senior guy. And he said, "Man, you plant a tree, you're gonna be dead by the time it start bearing fruit." And he said, "Listen, I've been eating off of the fruits and the trees that people have planted before me. I'm planting something in the ground right now for my future generation." I say, I'm planting something in the ground right now for those who are coming up behind us now. Come on, that's what we're doing. And Brother Latham, Minister Latham laid it out. This is that time in our service when we say, step up. It's time for you to join if you're able to at this particular point in time. The seeds have been planted that each and every individual who's out within the earshot of my voice, there might be that time that you would think that maybe I should get into this force. Maybe this tree right here will join this movement, we'll join this movement and become a force, and we will provide fruit, we will provide shade, we will provide things for our children coming up before us. It's not just for you as an individual. Come on. The brother made it clear. We're talking collectively. Right now we have a movement going. We would want more folk. We want our force to expand. We want as many of you who are within earshot of my voice, if you're interested, if you want to be a part of this movement, if you want to be a part of this force, if you want to be a part of this family, acknowledge. You can speak up, just say, here, this individual tree right here, this redwood, this black oak, this ivy over here, I want to be part of that forest, because we're a forest that is open. We're not just redwood, we're not just oak, we're the whole collective of the Most High. So anyone out there within the earshot of my voice, if this is the time for you, if the Spirit is speaking to, if you've been touched by your heart, if you heard something from the message that Minister Mallie has given, let it be known. Just speak up, raise your hand, holler out. We're listening right now. Is there anyone who wants to come forward? Okay, all right. And so while we do this, Brother Minister M.I.T, maybe put a little music on. Okay, there we go. All right.
I am climbing high mountain, trying to get home. I am climbing high mountain, trying to get home. Yes, I am climbing. I am climbing higher, high mountain, trying to get home.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Well, we have sister, and I hope I'm pronouncing it right. It was Christine Reed. If I'm wrong, charge it to my head and not my heart. We want to thank you, and our doors are always open. We ask you to come through, and if you don't do it right now, come on through later on in the week. So, and at this particular point in time, we want to close by singing our wonderful national anthem. And if you put yourself on mute, then you can belt it out and sing along with us. I say, I say. Here we go. Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring. Ring with the harmony of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the glistening sky. Let it resound loud as the roaring sea. Sounding good. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won. As we stand in the footsteps of our ancestors, moving towards that reunion, moving towards that unification, that unification with the Most High, following in His footsteps, that we are knowing that we are one people, having one aim, one faith, one destiny, and we call on the name that our ancestors were called for so many years. Let us all say, Amen.